Now you're ready to go.
Oh, there it is. Okay. Well, thank you everybody who's joining us live or will be watching later. This is the July 18th, 2022 noon regularly scheduled Board of Commissioner regular meeting for Whatcom County Fire Protection District number 4. So I see we have a quorum, but if we could just go around the room and do a roll call. I'm Mark Land, Commissioner.
Steve Cooley, Commissioner.
Tim Johnson, Commissioner.
Jason Vanderveen, Fire Chief.
John Ward, Division Chief. Sorry.
All right, thank you. So as I said, we have a quorum. So the meeting was called to order about noon. This is the public comment portion of our meeting. Just to reiterate, members of the public will be able to hear the entire meeting via Zoom meeting. And we've provided the link or can join the meeting via the link that's also been provided. Chief, as this is the public comment portion of the meeting, do we have anybody in the wings or waiting that would like to address the board?
No, sir.
Okay, the public comment portion of the meeting will be closed. So on the next item is the consent agenda. All matters within the consent agenda have been distributed to each member of the Board of Commissioners for review, are considered routine, and will be enacted by one motion of the board with no separate discussion. If a separate discussion is desired, that item may be removed from the consent agenda and placed on the regular agenda by request. And to highlight what's in the consent agenda, the expense fund revenue for June, $13,702.27. Total expenditures for July, $1,051. We've also included the June 4th and June 13th regular and special meeting minutes respectively, staff reports, financial reports, vouchers, payroll, and benefits, specifically the monthly expenditure payroll voucher, $896, and the monthly expenditure voucher, $155. So everybody's had a chance to review that. Does anybody want to pull anything out or highlight it? If not, I'd like to entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I would move to approve the consent agenda as presented.
And I'll second that motion.
Moved and seconded that the consent agenda. Sorry? Oh, sorry, I was picking up maybe somebody's radio.
Yep.
Moved and seconded that the consent agenda be approved. Any other discussion on that? All those in favor say aye.
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 Motion carries. The next item is the unfinished business. And we've got the Britton Loop Station 12 maintenance that I see the driver of that conversation possibly on the phone.
Yeah, sorry, he's
that's fine. We can come back to him. How about the Smith Road Station 13 update? Is there?
Yes. So, yep. Station 13, the lease has been signed by DNR, and they are in the building and conducting operations. Chief Ward and I went out there and met him and walked him through it. We did look at a couple maintenance items we wanted to clear up for them prior to it becoming an issue. So the whole station is going to have new gutters put on it, as well as the shop, just to alleviate any possible water damage in the future. Also, Commissioner Cooley, expect a little smirk from you, but we both, Chief Ward and I both noticed the next 2 years that building's going to have to be painted. So, yep, your favorite pet project.
Does not surprise me.
Yeah. But no, they're very happy with this. They're very happy with the building. And we walked, like I said, we did a complete walk through the building. They were, as I was leaving, their rigs were pulling in. So it's up.
Wow.
Great.
thank you for really doing the lion's share of the work, Chief, to get that occupied and provide our district the much needed revenue and provides some stability. So really appreciate it.
Well, and certainly couldn't do. I only did half of it. The other guys sitting in the meeting as well. So credit to Chief Ward as well.
All right, Chief Ward, did you want to talk, or I should say, be the spear catcher for the next item?
I figured I was going to be. I'm just, I'm actually following direction from the board previously to come back and give you some pricing on having
Nice.
that recited. And the term sticker shock is not an understatement there whatsoever. They've given you, that's one company. I'm still waiting for another company to get back to us on a bid, but I would anticipate both of those being real close to each other. And I did look at that bid from Alpine. They do offer pricing in two different grades, one unpainted and one painted. And if you chose to move on one of them, I would recommend the painted side of things, just because you do pay a little bit more for it to start with. But if you look at the cost of what it would be to paint the building, you'd still have to deal with it at that on that aspect of things. And with the cost of paint, having it pre-done like they offer would be actually a savings in the long run. So at least you've got that to look at. Both parties that came out, Highline Construction and then Alpine, both said that the would be the east side and the south side of the buildings. There's no saving of the siding. They're recommending both of them get replaced and not even painting them if you decide to paint. And one of the bids that we did get for you earlier from that was the all-inclusive painting project included replacing a large amount of the siding on the south and east sides.
Okay. Well, thank you for that. Yeah, and it was all in the chief's report. So yeah, we've all had an opportunity to digest that. Thanks for hitting the highlights. And beyond the painted siding comment that you made, any other recommendations between the chiefs on what either we should do next, or is it as far as soliciting information, or is it kind of decision time?
Yes. In a nutshell, it's one of those things that right now the siding is in poor shape, especially on the south side of the building. It's cupping and warping, and there's actually some pieces that have broken free, and so you've got some exposed underlayment there. The gutters on the admin side of the building on the south side, there's a spot where I can't even get anybody to fix it because it's all custom guttering. And the only fix to it would be to tear it off and put a standard, 6-inch preformed or formed in gutter that you can have, any gutter company come out and do. It would change the dynamic look of the building a little bit because you'd have some of it that's still customed, but some of it, that one section would be prefabbed, if you want to use that term. But yeah, as far as the buildings go right now, they're watertight, as watertight as we can keep them. There's a lot of trim on the station side that's starting to degrade to the point where you can push your finger into the wood itself. And so that's not savable. It's going to have to be replaced at some point, no matter what. And unfortunately, the longer we go, the bigger chance we have of finding water infiltration into the building itself or into the siding of the subsiding of the building.
Yeah, that makes sense. All right, well, actually, Commissioner Cooley, I'd like to kind of point to you here, and do you want to kick off maybe a discussion on what you see needing to happen, or a timeline, or just you've had a lot to do with this, and I'm just kind of want to hear your thoughts for everybody.
Well, I'm still digesting it as you are too, I'm sure. Yeah, I guess my main question right now, if it's a fair question to ask Chief Ward or Chief, what do you, in the short, what I'm seeing in the Alpine siding bids is there's basically a total replacement bid for each building, and then there's sort of a painting bid only, right? Is that what I'm seeing there?
Well, there's two parts of it. One of them is just the siding itself, and then the painting component is the upcharge that Hardie charges to have it pre-painted at their facility. The one nice thing about having it pre-painted at their facility is it's painted, 360 degrees. It's baked on finish, so you're not missing areas that potentially may be exposed. Any of the edges, they send additional paint. So the edges are painted before they go up. So anything that's unfinished due to cuts or anything like that are painted prior to installation.
Okay, yeah. I mean, money's obviously the issue, and we're going to have to think more about which option we want to go for. What's your gut telling you right now, Chief Ward, as far as you have any recommendations on how we should proceed?
For sure, on the south and east side, my gut's saying we're going to have to replace siding. I feel bad to say that, but it's one of those that the siding's been let go for long enough that both vendors that came out said when the building was built, you had really two choices. You had cedar or you had LP siding. So they did choose the proper siding to begin with when they built the building. Obviously LP siding, it was part of that big lawsuit years ago. But now it's all Hardie, and none of them would even touch cedar just because of the kind of abuse that our climate gets. So their recommendation again was Hardie. They could probably do partial on things. I don't know how they could parse that out because they've given us a quote on it based on the entire building. The north side of the buildings are probably in the best shape out of all of them because it doesn't get the abuse of the sun and some of our southerly flows. But the east side and the south sides are definitely going to have to be replaced. It's not, if we painted it, you might get 7 years out of it, and then you're having to start all over again. And at that point, you are going to have to replace siding. So it's kind of one of those where we're at that tipping point right now to do something with it, and that's side it.
Okay.
And if you do replace all the siding, then you've got a building that's it's a 30-year building at that point, other than maintenance on touch-ups on paint here and there. They do double the warranty on it when you buy it pre-painted. So you do get a longer warranty on the painted surface as well as the Hardie itself because they paint it and it's baked on in their facility.
Okay. Well, you answered a couple of my questions there. Thank you. Yeah, so Commissioner Land, I think I need a little bit more time to kind of dig into this and maybe talk with Chief Ward one-on-one. And if that works, I can come up with a recommendation for the board by the next meeting on what we should do with this. That work for you? I mean, we can still discuss it, but I'd like to look at it a little bit more.
Yeah, Tim, what do you think?
Yeah, I thought I heard Chief Ward say earlier we are expecting a second bid from one of their contractors still, or is?
We are, yes, and I would recommend.
No, timing.
I'm sorry.
Sorry, Tim, there's a little delay in your audio.
I'm sorry. I want to know we're expecting the second bid from the other contractor and when that might be.
I'm going to get a hold of them this week. I was actually expecting it last week. The main contractor or their estimator just became a dad last week, so he kind of he got thrown into a fatherly position overnight. And so I think that's kind of delayed it a little bit, but I'm hoping to have an answer back this week.
He's
Okay.
already met with the contractor out there. We're just waiting on their bid to come back from them. So,
So it sounds like maybe between the other two commissioners, it sounds like we might have good cause to continue to investigate, gather information, and be sure that we have this on the agenda for next month.
the other piece is, if the EMS levy passes, which obviously I'm in support of, there's a high likelihood in the EMS plan, they talk about a medic unit being stationed at Station 12. And that's not going to be able to happen without a remodel and a rather extensive remodel, which is going to be footed by the county. I've been very clear about that, and I'm pretty sure I told you all as well. And I'm not wondering if we can fold some of this in, or a lot of this, or all of it into that project because of the size of the remodel that would have to happen.
Nice.
As I was sitting here looking at this, trying to figure out how to pay it.
Yeah, I was thinking of trying to think of other options like that as well. If we can wrap some of this into another project, that would be a
Yes. And so I think we might have to, sorry, Sean, but we may have to wait for November for our answer. I realize it's going to change numbers up as we've learned with everything else, but at least we have a ballpark idea and we know the scope of the project we'd be getting into.
Yeah. The one other comment I would have is I don't know if this applies to Hardy or anything else, but I have a couple of contractor friends I've been talking to about other things, and they're telling me that the cost of materials right now is extremely high. So I don't think waiting a little while longer would hurt us in that regard either. Maybe the materials cost will come down a little, but I'm glad. Thank you, Chief Ward, for getting all that together. That really gives us a good idea of the scope of the cost we're talking about. So that's it did what I wanted it to do personally, getting those bids or getting both of them when we do it's going to give us kind of an idea of what we're looking at. So thank you.
Okay, good. Yeah, thank you. Sounds like we'll continue to work on it and bring it up again next month. See if we made any more progress. Any other unfinished business before we move on to new business? All right. Is there any new business?
It's new, but it ties into a piece of unfinished business, and that is this month the county council, the EMS levy plan that's been being worked on finally came out, and that EMS recommendation was to set the EMS levy at 29.5 cents. Late in May, the county council voted to move that forward. In June, there was a change. They amended that to 19.9 cents and then added some language to the EMS plan that under the auspices of diversity, equity, and inclusion, about how agencies, EMS and fire agencies in the county hire. That kind of sent the city of Bellingham back a little bit. There was no announcement that this change in the levy rate was going to happen. Fire chiefs weren't consulted. It was just kind of out of left field. Chief Hewitt from Bellingham did a lot of work in the background along with a couple other chiefs, and were able to get the county to revisit their decision. The diversity, equity, and inclusion language stayed in the levy plan. It's changed a little bit, and really what they're wanting to do is make sure that that we're hiring, that we have fair hiring practices, and they want to be able to look and see how we conduct hirings, how we conduct recruitments, things like that. They just want to make sure it's an open and fair process, which I didn't know of any chiefs that were opposed to that. They did reset the levy language to 29.5 cents. There's some resistance to it. The vote was 4-3. at the council. Yeah, Commissioner Johnson was sitting right behind me there. And so he kind of got to watch how the sausage was made. It has to be, because it was changed after, the initial vote, it has to be voted on one more time. In addition to that, the city of Bellingham, because they're a city of over 50,000, has self-determination rights in the RCWs, and they have to give the county permission to put that on the ballot in the city of Bellingham, even though those are county taxpayers. So what's happening now is that the county is going to, like I said, have to revote on putting the levy forward at 29.5 cents with the current levy plan. And after that, and only after that, the city of Bellingham will give the county permission to put it on the ballot. The city of Bellingham has now decided that they're not going to give the county permission to put it on the ballot unless it's the original levy plan, which everyone agreed to. So they're holding each other hostage, I guess, is what I'm trying to say in really plain English. All hopes are that the county will reconfirm their vote, even if it is 4-3, and there's certainly some vocal opponents to it, but hopefully the county council will move forward as one and support the levy, or support the citizens voting on the levy, and the city of Bellingham will also give their permission for it to go on the ballot in the city. If all those things happen, it will be on the ballot in November. Needless to say, that is why there's been no movement or anything done with the Bellingham District 4 question. The city of Bellingham has been in kind of, they've been all circled the wagons, and they're working on the EMS levy. It's a big, it would be, despite what you think about local or county government, it would be a travesty if this thing doesn't pass. It's really going to affect the citizens, and it's going to affect the citizens countywide. Those of us worse out in the county, but really it's going to affect everyone countywide if it doesn't at least get on the ballot and hopefully get passed. So that is, I guess that's kind of new business, but I wanted you to know about the EMS levy. I'll send out an email to all the commissioners of both boards once we know that it's going to be actually on the ballot in November. That determination will be made August 2nd. We'll know August 2nd if it's going to be on the ballot.
Okay, that was going to be my question. Is August 2nd the next county council meeting where they might vote on that?
That's where they have to file.
Oh, okay.
They have to get all this done. Both councils have to make this happen before August 2nd. And I don't think anybody's planning on conducting a special meeting. So it's really, I believe the city of Bellingham meets August 1st, and it's coming down to the wire. So I will let you know. But that is also after it goes, we know it's on the ballot. If the board were to ask, I would be happy to bring a resolution supporting the EMS levy if that's something that you would like. Once we know it's going to be on the ballot.
Yeah, that sounds like a great idea. Thanks for that summary. And yeah, I'd be in favor of our board, sort of kind of a friend of the court brief, so to speak, when the time is right. Either other commissioners have any thoughts on that? If you'd want to, get involved in that, and when the time was right to show our support formally.
Yeah, I'm on board with doing a resolution or sending the message that we're behind it.
How about
I
you?
support that as well.
Okay.
And I'd also
Well,
like to thank the dean for being at council meeting last week. I think the presence that he had and the other chiefs at that meeting was a big benefit for the council stats. So thank you from there.
yeah, well, thank you. I don't know if it's just on my end or not, Tim, but I'm only getting about every fifth word or so from you, but I saw the others nodding, so maybe it was just me. Yeah, so I guess it sounded like we had unanimous consent there, Chief, when the time was right. We are suggesting that a resolution or letter, whatever, be drafted for us to indicate our district's support. When the time is right, feel free to bring that in front of us. All right, any other new business?
The only other thing was that we North Wacom, so combined District 4 and 21, made just had a recruitment and testing and recruitment. We offered jobs to five individuals, 1 lateral, and 4 entry-level firefighters. All 5 have accepted. Their anticipated start date is August 1st. The 4 brand new people will be going to the academy on August 11th. They'll be out for about 2.5 months at the academy and then return to the floor. So we'll get you their names and some pictures. But yeah, we've got 5 new people in the pipeline, which is, once they get on the floor, it'll be nice to have. The relief will be welcome.
Great. What agency did the lateral come from?
Austin, Texas.
Oh, nice. All right. Well, yeah, thanks for that update. Any other new business? All right. Do we have any correspondence?
Didn't see any new correspondence in the packet.
Yeah,
Nothing new in the
neither.
packet.
Anything coming late? Nope. Okay. The next meeting would be for August 15th. That works for me. Does that still work for everybody else here? Looking
Yep.
like it does. Okay, great. So I guess we kind of already talked about it, but I mean, since it's on the agenda, I'll just mention it. And of course, that's the RFA or merger question, but I think that's sort of been dealt with, Jason, when you talked about how things with the city are somewhat on hold right now, in that question. So we can always come back to that next meeting unless something exigent pops up that would require a special meeting, of course.
Okay.
I didn't stop by today, but I'm assuming Jenny's got everything that we need to sign in the fire hall.
Yes, sir. In the drawer.
Okay. All right. And so just a reminder, she likes to have everybody just email the, hey, I've signed this, and then that's probably the cue for somebody to come and carry or pigeon it back north. Anything else for the good of the order? All right, well, thank you, everybody. Enjoy this beautiful summer that we're having. And yeah, see y'all next month.
All right.
Great.